Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's 10:52 a.m. right here in Singapore on a Sunday morning. So I'm really excited because we're back with more podcasting action. And our first of two guests lined up this morning is imtheSNT, also known as crypto's first pop star, crypto's first pop star. So this is something really refreshing because he'll be appearing as his avatar today. So without further ado, let's bring it on. But I'm going to just do a really short introduction. Well, he's living life in the metaverse by daylight and fighting crime in the metaverse by moonlight. imtheSNT lives in the NFT world, and there are many NFTs in NFT world. The NFTs use SNT's modern technology and gifts in the metaverse to defeat enemies, and enemies can be defeated for rewards. Well, he's a dropout musician out of Orlando, Florida. So I'm really interested to find out more about why he's also known as crypto's first pop star. Without further ado, let's bring him on.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you?
I'm great. It's a great early Sunday morning right here in Singapore. So what time is it over there? And tell us where you're residing and what's happening in your city in the past 1 week.
I live in Orlando, Florida right now. It's almost 11 o'clock here. The city, it's been raining a lot. It's been pretty casual here, for the most part. I've had a pretty good time. Not a lot of action in
This is great. And so, we would definitely want to find out more about, what you do, and not just in terms of what's happening in the city, but also your NFT career, because we know that you're also known as crypto's first pop star, right? So there are many pop stars, but there are not many who are in this space or, ice ball deep into NFTs. So definitely someone we're very interested to find out more about in the next 20 or 25 minutes or so. So maybe start us off by telling us, about your background, how you got down into this NFT rabbit hole, and basically give us, your entire journey story in the next 3 minutes. Over to you.
Okay. Hi, I'm the Saint. It's Saint, and so I live in Saint's world. That was that. I am a musician. I moved to Florida for school about 3 years ago to go to Full Sail University, and I went through a lot of. I moved here alone, and I didn't have any financial help from my family. So I went to school completely on scholarship. I'm a National Merit Scholar, and I was working at a very popular venue here, and a friend approached me back in early June and pretty much started telling me about NFTs, and I had never heard of them. And this friend is also very much into cryptocurrency and the stock market. So this was something that he had already known about and had been involved in for a while. And he had just heard my music and was like, "Hey, dude, I think that your music is perfect for this. Let's start doing this, start making these." So I made my first NFT, which was Player One. I made the track that week. It was like I pretty much wanted to make new songs for it because at the time I wasn't really sure about how NFTs worked and licensing. So I didn't want to sell my songs that I had already made and was using for my album because I was afraid that I wouldn't be like someone else would own them. I was very ignorant and I just needed some education in that. So I made Player One specifically for NFTs, and I pretty much started continuing that trend. I made Player Two and Player Three, which are not NFTs yet, but I made the songs. And the theme of Player One, Two, and Three was the idea of the metaverse. And so that was a little bit of a background as to how I got involved into NFTs in the first place. So I've been here since pretty much the beginning of July.
This is brilliant, and I think it's really exciting that you're using, NFT as a platform, as a medium, right, to put out your music. So, tell us more about your music background and also your musical direction. Who are some of your inspirations? And by going down this rabbit hole, right, and minting a music as NFTs, are there some artists who have actually done similar and basically inspire you to put out your music as NFTs? Tell us more in terms of your musical direction, as well as some of your inspirations from musicians who have done NFTs successfully.
Yeah. Well, for musicians who've done NFTs successfully, I can't say that I've actually found a single musician who I follow where I'm like, I love your NFTs, to be honest. I can say that I've seen a metaverse performance by Imogen Heap where she did a performance back in 2018 using the VR Wave. That is definitely what I'm inspired by. If you've ever seen that, it's the first time that I've seen somebody actually do that. I've seen other celebrities like Ariana Grande did a perform or is doing the Fortnite performances, you know, and Travis Scott did the Roblox or the Minecraft performance, whichever it was. And nobody was really doing the direction that I was, which was specifically I wanted to be in VR. I wanted you to see my character. And I wanted to be able to change the world around me with like the music and you know, give you a real experience, because I grew up on anime. I grew up on a lot of, you know, I grew up on the computer essentially. So this whole idea of like the video games and the way that they work and the what things that they can do was not a surprise to me, because I'm already quite well informed with acts over in Japan, such as Hatsune Miku, which you know is the Vocaloid. And it just made sense to me that this was something that you would implement into the metaverse, very similar to Hatsune Miku, but you would actually put on, you know, your VR headset and you would see me as in comparison. And you know, there are plenty of other animes where they show like performances from stars in them, and the world around them, you know, changes like as they perform. One that I can think off the top of my head was in Symphogear. There was a performance. A lot of the Symphogear performances are like that. So that was pretty much like my initial direction, and Imogen kind of helped me with that. My music in general is very different compared to a lot of musicians that I've actually found in the space. And the reason that I so boldly called myself Crypto's first pop star is because when I first got here, I couldn't find anybody who was actually doing what I was doing or headed in the direction that I was headed. As I would look at these NFT platforms, I would find music and I would find musicians, and their music was a little bit different. It wasn't really, it would be maybe just a beat, an electronic track with a video. I couldn't find anybody who was trying to make it more of an experience, right? So I very quickly found out about the metaverse, and I just wanted to focus all of my time in that and use my NFTs as a way to really promote my shows in the metaverse. Musically, my biggest inspirations, honestly, as a kid, I remember I was watching 106 in Park live on BET, and I saw the Missy Elliott music video, Get Your Freak On, and I was like, what is this? Like, I've never even seen a music video. Like, I had never seen anything like that before, and I thought that it was so crazy. So I remember I lived with my grandmother at the time out in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, and I was just like, you know, like, what is this? Like, I was trying to explain to her what I saw, and she was trying to like direct me, like, oh, finally, this is 106 in Park. So I started watching 106 in Park, which I don't know if you know, it was a very popular show that would show the top 10 music videos in the country or on the Billboard charts, I believe, or like whatever, however they did it. They would show the top 10 music videos of the week, and they would fall in order, and they would just play them throughout the hour. So I started watching that. My biggest inspirations as a kid, or like the musicians that I really liked, was like Janet Jackson. I really liked Aaliyah. As a matter of fact, I also really liked Mystical. And when I bought my first album, I remember I told my mom that I wanted, everybody at the time was getting the Britney Spears album because she had just came out with a I'm a slave forever. And I was like, all my friends have the Britney Spears album and are talking about this Britney Spears album. Like, Mom, I want the Britney Spears album. And she was like, no, you're not getting the Britney Spears album, but we can go to the music store and you can get something else. So I went to the music store, and I was really between Mystical's album at the time and Aaliyah's, her self-titled album, which was Red. And between the two, at the end of the day, I chose the Aaliyah album, which I think influenced me more into being a singer than a rapper as I grew up. So I, continued growing up and listening to music, and eventually my music taste changed. So I got into a lot of pop around like high school time. So I was really into Lady Gaga. I thought that everything that Lady Gaga was doing music was super crazy and super interesting. I liked Katy Perry. I liked Taylor Swift. I liked a whole lot of these like more popular pop artists at the time. And then probably about college, I started delving into different types of genres. So I got more into indie. I remember I was a really big fan of Florence and the Machine at the time, and just different acts like that. And Banks is another huge influence of mine. She makes, I would call it like maybe alternative R&B. And you can even tell listening to Banks that there's like Janet influence in her and things. So when I started doing my own music, which I had been wanting to, do music for a long time, I was heavily influenced by Lil Peep, Kiara. Felix knows Kiara's producer. He also produced one of my favorite bands. Used to be one of my favorite bands, Terror Jr. And anything Felix knows producing, I thought was crazy. He would do this thing with his vocal chop on Ableton, and I was like, oh my god, I need Ableton. I need to be making music like this. So when I moved to Florida, I had already had like different influences of music like that, because Lil Peep made like alternative rap. Kiara was also like a pop rapper. Terror Jr. was very popular for like pop raps. I also listened to a lot of, rap from back home. I'm from Dallas, and I also live in Florida. So, like I like Kodak and Kodak Black. I'm a big fan of Kodak Black, or Moneybagg Yo. And just these different rappers from these areas were pretty much what I was accustomed to. So I used that as influence for the music that I started making earlier this year. My first song that I made was Be Still, and I actually dropped that last summer, I think the end of August. And that was more based on sound. I'm actually autistic, so I really base a lot of things in my life off of the sound of people's voice and the way that they talk, and the things that I hear. I'll typically go off of that. So I focused on nothing but sounds at first, and putting a bunch of different sounds together to make music. And then around the summer, I finally just started using my voice. So I made Sixth Commandment and Vision, and then I just recently made Language, which is more of like an alternative rock song. And yeah, that's a summary of my music history and my influences.
I would say, it's a wonderful history. And of course, you have name dropped some fantastic music influencers, especially also who, you were influenced by when it comes to the world of crypto and NFT artists. So it's exhilarating, listening you, just telling us, all these great artists who have inspired you. And of course, how you overcame, your challenges, and being able to actually operate and get influenced or inspired by the sounds that other people or artists are making, and allowing us to also enjoy your creativity. And I think your creativity comes in so many forms, not just in terms of the music, but even as your avatar, like what we are now experiencing by talking to you. In this avatar that you've designed, right? I think what sets you apart already is that you're bringing this immersive experience and allowing us to actually put on our VR headsets and being able to feel your presence. I think that's something that maybe I'm looking forward to do next with you, to do a live podcast in the metaverse. So I'll be my avatar as well, and make sure that we are able to experience each other and also see our movements of our mouths when we're talking, or even our hand gestures. I think that'll be really fun. And by the way, I really love the look of your avatar. Tell us the design process behind this, and how did you decide to have this digital clothing outfit? And of course, the mask is what sets you apart as well. So tell us more about this design and the creativity process.
Okay. So I am also, as a musician and avid anime watcher, and growing up on the computer, I'm an avid gamer. So my first game that I played was probably, I remember, or MMO at least. I played a lot of MMOs. So I remember I think like 2007 maybe. I played MapleStory. I remember I saw an ad for it and I instantly downloaded MapleStory and started playing that. I was a sorcerer. And I kept it pushing, and then instantly I got the Burning Crusade with World of Warcraft, so I started playing that, and I was like, had to be like 11 years old at the time, or 12 years old, and I was raiding in World of Warcraft, and so I spent a lot of time actually playing in World of Warcraft. My real life was very, very stressful. My mother was heavily addicted to drugs, and my father was in jail. So I lived with my grandmother, and my mother would come in and out of my life, and she was very abusive and would consistently introduce like these toxic and very negative and foul experiences into my space. And so I would pretty much just delve and spend my time like on the computer and in the online world. So this was something that was very that was quick for me to get accustomed to. So I 4,000 hours on World of Warcraft at the age of like 14, right? Like it was insane. Like I was well known for just being online. I spent my time on retail, I spent my time on private servers, and the next game that I ended up playing was Ion, and then I played Vindictus, and then I played countless others. When League first came out, like, so I ended up playing a game before I went to college called Terra, the Exiled Realm of Arborea. And in that game, my character had this skull mask, and I loved this skull mask and like the overall look that it gave me, and I just really resonated with it. So I was very well known in the game for dressing well. And as a matter of fact, I remember, like, there were specific outfits that I would wear that other people wouldn't, and based on me wearing them, the outfits would become more expensive. Whatever that schoolgirl outfit was, they know what they stole from me. So when I quit playing video games and went to college the first time, I had an idea of what I wanted my musician self or musician image. So this project, which at the time I did not know was called imtheSNT, I had an idea of what it wanted to look like, and I knew I wanted to use the skull mask. So also playing these video games, you know, there are a lot of other things that go into this. I won't get into all of that right now, but just the mask in general with like life and homosexuality and like things that are going on in America and cultures here. There are a lot of reasons why, you know, being in the metaverse or being online and being in these games, like nobody has to worry about, nobody's looking at you. Nobody knows who you are or what you're doing. You are your avatar. So this was kind of like I believe why I resonated so much with masks in general and why I had the idea of the mask. So I recently drew this avatar over the summer. The hair is obviously like a big deal for me. It's inspired off of my own hair. That's like what my hair looks like. The jacket is a jacket that I owned, which says Saint on it. So it was one of my favorite jackets. I got it from Saint Morta, which is a brand, a very big fashion brand. And I'm also very well known in the city of Orlando for like the way that I dress anyways, because it's relatively unique to other people, which is also inspired a lot. My fashion is heavily inspired off of anime and video games anyways, specifically like urban Korean fashion and things like that. So yeah, I just pretty much was like, you know, I knew when I started doing NFTs, I was like, I need to create some type of like look and like vision for myself, or of you know, what I want people to experience as me. And this was what I drew up. So I knew I wanted the mask, which came from the past. And then it literally essentially pretty much just looks like me. I'm really well known for like the look in my eyes, so I wanted to like capture that really well, and I wanted you to really be able to kind of get an idea of what it's like for me to directly look at you. Sorry, I'm trying to like get a little bit closer. I wanted you to kind of really be able to get an idea of what it's like to really be sitting there with me, and this is essentially what that's like. And I also sometimes wear blush, and that is also why there's a little bit of blush under the mask. So yeah, that was like the whole overall vision and what made me draw up the avatar.
I love your vision, and I love how you have executed your ideas and your vision into something that is so photorealistic. At the same time, it's totally you. I just love the hair and the eyes. Of course, I could feel that you're in the presence of me. Right now doing this live taping, right? And even when you're blinking, and of course the mouth movements as well. And I love that the skull mask that you have actually designed. And yeah, I probably, when I see you on the streets, right, when I travel to your country later this year, if I don't, bump into you on the streets and if you look like a stranger to me, right? But, if I look at the hairstyle and probably the eyes, the gaze as well, I probably think, hey, are you I'm the Saint? Were you on my podcast previously? That's probably one way for me to actually identify you. And I'm thinking that, this metaverse is great. And it allows us to express ourselves in different forms, right? So,
right.
But sometimes, we do also want to like ID each other easier. So do you think that having a webcam bubble right on top of avatar, do you think that will help to enhance, the experience, or will it take this away, in terms of like, do we appreciate each other more in terms of our avatar, or do we need another like complementary webcam bubble where I could see the real live version of you? Do you think that's necessary, or do you think this avatar is good enough to actually allow you to express the way that you want to be, and you don't really need to be in your real reality form any longer? Like, this is good enough.
So right. I think that for a long time that this type of technology did not exist or at least to the public, to be able to really have your camera and read your face like this and animate something like on the screen. So, with Snapchat, especially in like the past 5-6 years, I think that from my understanding, they have some of the, unfortunately, most realistic AR VR experiences for the public right now, that like reads the entire body. So from my understanding, this is something that's relatively new. So what this is called, if you look over to is this my left? This is my right. If you look over to my right here, you see this little girl flying. This program that I'm using is actually called VTube Studio, and I downloaded it off of Steam. I haven't paid for it yet. Don't drag me. But so that's the little like signature stamp, is that little girl right there. She's so cute. I think her name is Akari. But so this was something that I just downloaded from Steam, and this is actually a really big market right now that's like really booming for something on Twitch called a VTuber, which I just recently found out about over the summer as well. So the first one who I saw was the Yishai, and there's another one who I've seen called Blue Haze, where they play video games on Twitch, and it's this person, right? So, and I think that the way that my character right now is able to interact with you, where I'm like speaking and I'm looking at you and you see my movements, to be honest, what would the difference be if it was just the webcam, right? So this is giving, I think, people a experience who like anime, who like video games, and it's almost like you're friends with a character like that looks like that. I think that that's something that actually interests a lot of people. And with the crypto space, like anonymity or being anonymous, I'm terrible at saying that word, but anonymity, I don't know. But being anonymous is, really big. And there's a lot of people here who just want to be anonymous because they've made X amount of money and they're living off in some island somewhere, and they don't want anybody to know who they are for their reasons. And I could completely understand. This was something that when I first got into crypto, like I was like, oh, okay, people want to be anonymous here. Like the whole idea is to be anonymous here. You know, there are plenty of influencers in the NFT space on Twitter who I have no clue what they look like, right? Like I just have an idea of what they told me that they look like, or they're, you know, the little avatar projects, right? Which I think we could also get into that from here, right? Where people are spending cryptocurrency on these profile picture projects or avatar projects, another way that they're known. And, you know, they're spending people are making a lot of money for people to just walk around and pose as their avatars. So from my understanding, like another big market that's coming is people want to be in metaverses and say that they've purchased a Bored Ape. This was literally something that was just talked about yesterday. You know, my friend wants to be in a metaverse and he wants to put on a skin and he wants to walk around as his Bored Ape, right? So I think that what I'm doing with this type of experience, while this is very elementary, like you can see it's not perfect, this is, you know, what I'm able to do right now. And I think that it's a really cool introduction that ties all of these aspects of crypto and stuff together, that maybe people, you know, didn't know about, that were already in the space.
Very well said. I think you mentioned something about profile, pictures, profile photos like CryptoPunks and Bored Ape, Yacht Club.
Right.
And those are cooler these days than even suits. I think that's why Twitter is more cool than LinkedIn, right? Because, you have everyone showing up in their PFPs or as a CryptoPunk or as a Bored Ape rather than, something else, maybe like a really serious photo profile picture of them in a suit. I think that's like super boring, right? Everyone looks the same. But this is totally you. It's 100% of how you express yourself and how you set yourself apart from the other musicians out there. So I think it's just very appropriate for you to call yourself crypto's first pop star. And what brings to mind of what you just told us, and I think it's really inspiring as well. Probably will inspire a lot of musicians out there who are watching this. They could actually, express themselves in such a way. And I was reminded, like when I was playing in bands, that was like decades ago, right? Many of my bandmates or even musicians in the scene, right, they were reluctant to actually, perform on stage just because of like they are introverts or they have huge stage fright. So like recently there's this new Fox TV reality show, right? It's like a singing competition, but it's actually more than that. It allows anyone or any musician to just come onto the show as their alter ego, as their avatar. I think the show is called Alter Ego. And, it kind of like allow even like born singer-songwriters or even producers, who love designing performances, someone like you, for example. And I think even Kurt Cobain of Nirvana, right? He spoke about the really bad mental health effects and insecurities from being a front person, as they find like live performances quite emotionally intense. But having this capability or this technology to help them to replace their real reality self with an avatar, perhaps to allow them to actually find more creative expressions or avenues, and it allows them to even perform on stage. And it took a technology like this to even like get a band like ABBA, right, to actually put out new music for the first time in 40 years, because they could reform and perform again as a result of all these technology advances. Like what I'm staring at right now on my screen, I think this is even better than real reality. I just love your hair. I love your gaze. I love your skull mask. I love your digital clothing. So I think this is really cool. And it isn't just about getting into the metaverse trend, but really representing, for a lot of people who might be more like of a behind the scenes person, but who loves the idea of like architecting a performance, or in your case, having yourself expressed in such a form. So this is really incredible, and I'm loving, what I'm looking at so far. So can you maybe tell us, are you going to be releasing traditional songs or an album next? Where can people purchase or even listen to your music? Because, like there are many NFT musicians currently minting their NFTs, right? Basically, you're putting out music in the NFT medium. And some of these NFTs actually include like full songs from their upcoming album. So tell us about your plan in terms of releasing strategy and concept.
Right. So I call myself crypto's first pop star because, like I said, I couldn't find anybody in this space like me. And I literally really started my music like heavily when I got into crypto. So I was really like coming up on the idea like I'm trying to become, you know, this big metaverse performer, and I don't believe anybody's done that purely off of getting into the cryptocurrency space. Like, I don't believe that anybody has gotten into cryptocurrency and started promoting their music via cryptocurrency and then become big via cryptocurrency. So I was like, I'm pretty sure that, like, how do I find other people like me, or how do I even like start doing music in the NFT space was like my first question here, because I mean, I drew this, but when I say like I'm not a digital drawing artist like that. I'm a musician. So even this, while it's cool and it's cute, it's most certainly imperfect in many ways. But my music is like my forte. So I was having a hard time to like navigate the space as a musician in general, and the music space in NFTs is very small. You know, there's new projects that people are coming out with, like async and things like that. You know, one of just dropped where it's dropping more celebrity NFTs, and like French Montana just had a really big NFT drop the other day where he made shoes, and you can actually wear the shoes in the metaverse, and if you buy them you can have like a song. So before all of that, I was like, shit, how do I do this? Right. And I just was looking around, and then I was finding that people were making roadmaps for their projects to let people know how this was going to serve them in the future. And I was just like, how do you make like a roadmap for this? And then finally somebody was like, you just make it. Like, there's no structure, like nobody's done it. And they were like, the fact that nobody has done it and you have to figure it out, that's actually a really good thing. So I made a roadmap, and I already have songs on SoundCloud. It's I'm the Saint, IMtheSNT. And I released 4 NFTs. They're on OpenSea. So my collection is also I'm the Saint. All of my tags are I'm the Saint. You can find me on Instagram if you want to see what I look like. And you can find me on Twitter. That's mostly where I spend a lot of my time. Discord, I'm the Saint, hashtag 70104. Please add me. I'm in these different spaces, but so on OpenSea, that's the only place that I have NFTs right now, and I have 4 of them. I have Player 1, which is a 1 of 1, and it is my Genesis piece. And then I have 3 others. One is called Vision, one is called Cry Baby, and the other is called, I have to think of what song it is, Compassion. And so the way that it works is right now, the only one that is for sale, like visibly, is Player 1, which is the 1 of 1. And the other 3, I have them right now pretty much privately locked. So someone would have to request me to buy them, because the way that they work is when you buy one, you'll automatically have my album, which the money that I generate from the NFT sales will go into the final mix and master to release an album. And of course, anybody who buys an NFT automatically gets access to my music and gets an album. That was how I wanted it. You know, I feel like NFTs are, you know, already worth a lot of money, and they take money to get into, and they take money to even buy, right? So I realized that what's really important is the utility and how much I can give you off of this. So if you buy one NFT, you get the album. If you buy all 3 NFTs, or like 3 of any NFT, and I also it'll turn into a backstage pass. And if you have a backstage pass, that is a permanent ticket to any of my future metaverse shows always. So, you know, this is again the beginning of my career, literally. And I really want people's support, but I really want people to like buy my stuff who are interested in my music, who, you know, want to come to my shows, who want to spend the time on that. And so I just want this to go out to my fans and you know, really build a decent base for myself of people who really support me and who see this vision and who get something from my music, because I feel like my music is made in the way that I speak, in the way that I sing, in the way that I'm rapping, the way that I'm making it, to reach out to people who are a little bit different, right? And just give them you know, the spirit that they needed. So if you moving on, sorry, I know you were asking me about, I'm trying to think of my roadmap. So that's like the first stage is the album, obviously, and the final mix and master comes off of selling the NFTs once I have the money for that. The second phase is really better quality NFTs, which I actually kind of got into that a little bit earlier. I'm actually kind of in that phase right now. I didn't have this avatar. This is brand new, my little VTube setup. I didn't have this until earlier this week. So the idea for season 2 was to actually have NFTs that were like this, that were a little bit more interactive and giving you a little bit more of a show than just the ones that I had made previously. And ultimately, I want the last stage of my journey to have my own metaverse that people can go to, that can experience performances, and it also be a video game, because I've been a gamer my whole life, you know what I'm saying? So I live in Saint World where there are many saints and we fight enemies, right? That's my whole idea on that. So I want to use this as a way to help people, and at the same time just being myself and doing what I love, right?
I super love your roadmap. I love how you're executing it. I think I'm super appreciative of how you're premiering your new avatar on this show and allowing our audiences in Asia to discover you. I think we are all very intrigued right now. There are a lot of people commenting that they're super curious to hear your music. I think it's great that you have also shared with us, where we can actually find out about your future NFT drops and your SoundCloud page, etc. So understand that you have all these plans lined up in your roadmap for music, videos, metaverse concerts, other events. So do check back, and come back on our show more often, regularly, and update us on your upcoming events and your NFT drop dates. But before we let you go, I definitely want to squeeze in one last question about if you could collaborate with any other NFT avatar, who or meta personality, who would it be and why?
Oh my God. So, it's really hard to say, but actually, no, it's not, because I've done my research and I know what I'm talking about. I am in love, and one of my favorite artists back in, I think, 2018, ironically enough, which is when Imogen Heap released her VR performance on the VR Wave. Is Teflon Sega. And so Teflon Sega had this song with St. John and Beretta Lake. And Beretta Lake was absolutely ridiculous. It was the first time I had ever heard of St. John. St. John has become that was the first, I don't even think, he didn't even have his album yet. So that was the first time I ever heard St. John. And St. John is actually a really big star now. He's working with Beyonce. He was on the Lion King album. I don't know if you haven't heard of St. John. He's really well known because he has some really dope merchandise. So I would definitely suggest, please check out St. John. That's I love St. John, just so we're all clear. Teflon Sega actually is developing, I don't know if he's developing a metaverse. I haven't talked to him personally. We do follow each other on Twitter, and sometimes he'll like tweets and stuff. But he has what he calls a metaverse series on YouTube, where he has already created a little 3D avatar who does metaverse performances that he'll stream on Twitch and you can watch on YouTube. And I was like, whoa, you're already doing this. How crazy that this is, an artist who I was listening to at this time that I was putting people onto. Because funny backstory, I was on Twitter I've been on Twitter for a long time and I've had different Twitters, but back in 2018, 2019, 2018, 2019, something like that, 2017, 2018, I don't know, we won't be specific, but Felix Snow, which was the producer who worked with Kiara and Tara Jr., he was on Twitter and he owns a label out of Atlantic called FS Empire, which I followed. And Felix Snow was like, I'm looking for new talent. Show me your artist. So I sent him a variety. And one of the ones that I sent him was Teflon Sega. And I didn't think anything of it until had to be what? Maybe weeks or months later, Felix Snow posted a tweet that was like Teflon. And I was like, holy fucking shit, you have to be kidding me. This dude just listened to me and is about to work with this artist who I love and I recommended to him. I didn't think any about it until had to be 2019. Felix Snow actually dropped a song with Teflon Sega, and I believe it's his girlfriend or maybe wife or fiance now. They have a new band. I forget what it's called, but at the time her name was TYSM, so like thank you so much. So Teflon Sega came out with a song produced by Felix Snow, and it was featuring Teflon Sega and TYSM, and I was like, oh my god. So funny backstory, I got Teflon a little bag. I don't think he knows that, but yeah. So Teflon Sega is doing this metaverse series on YouTube, and he's the only other person who I've seen at this moment who's doing things in a way that I'm trying to get into and I'm trying to progress towards. So if I could work with any other avatar right now, I would love to work with Teflon. I also know that he lives in Ohio, and I was born in Columbus, Ohio. So there are just a lot of parallels in our lives, and that's a person who's definitely inspired me. So Teflon Sega is my answer for that for sure.
These are the real OGs, right? Who are doing great things in the metaverse. Probably the OGs, who are metaverse artists and musicians who have crushed it. Yeah, and I think these are really worthy and inspiring collaborators. And maybe you could forward this interview link with them later on, and use this as a way to invite them to collaborate with you in your next metaverse concert. And we'll definitely be the first to tune in from Asia. So I'm just gonna squeeze in one last question, and
Please.
That's about your DAO. I think this is something that we should talk about before you go.
Thank you.
One which is, I think, in the banner below. Tell us about DAO D50, and is it like gonna be allowing some of the owners or the community members who also have voting rights that can impact on some of your future metaverse projects? And how will these voting rights work? And can NFT owners actually force you to make like even a country album next?
That's actually pretty funny. That's pretty smart. I hadn't actually thought about that. So DAO the 50 is essentially my job. I quit my job, and like I said, quit school to start doing this. So when I quit my job, I was like, I need something to do. And I was in Clubhouse one day, and I heard about DAO the 50 talking, and they had a gallery that they were launching, and they were like, we're looking for artists. They got really big because Foundation, which is one of the more popular NFT sites, they felt were really like focusing their time on promoting like a specific set of artists. So DAO the 50 was like, hey, you know what I'm saying? There's other great artists out there. And the guy who I consider my boss, although he's not technically my boss, he's just much, much older and much more experienced than me. His name is Frank Poncelet, FPS. Please check out his Foundation profile. He's a great, fantastic artist, smart guy. And I definitely have to give a lot of props to Frank, because he is the whole reason why I even got involved in that. He was looking for a curator for DAO the 50 to start curating the digital art gallery. So I was like, this couldn't be too complicated. I imagine you find the artwork, you find the artist, and you're like, hey, I want you to hang your art up in the gallery, and then you put it in there. So shit, I'll do that. Like, I'm not doing anything else. And like I said at the time, people weren't really paying attention to music NFTs, and I was very new into the space. So I was like, I should use this as a way to start getting a name for myself out here. So to be honest, I haven't had a single NFT sale as of yet. And I pretty much spend my time, you know what I'm saying? I've curated 2 of these digital galleries. The first one that I curated was Genesis Reloaded, which was last month's exhibition. And then this month I did Live in Color. And I pretty much spend my time promoting and finding these other artists, and I get them sales and I get them money. So I really wanted to, really devote my time to helping other people in the space as much as I could. And you know what I'm saying? Helping educate them, and also just promoting them and getting them sales. I focus a lot on minority communities. If you look at any of my like collaborations, technically the first person I ever sent music to was Jutsu Boy. I worked with Zyledge, who is, they're both Thai artists. I really support the Thai NFT community. I support, again, any minority NFT community, or any minority group that's in the NFT community. I've worked with Grizzy and like just these other people who are there, who are around, and I spend, like I said earlier, I want to use my music to help people, right? So I was like, if I'm in this NFT space, I genuinely believe like the best thing to do is try and help people. So the Dial the 50 is like my job, and I curate the digital gallery, and I do that in order to help generate sales for people who may not have gotten any yet, but have fantastic artwork, and want that out there. So I've gotten, if you go in there now, we have an On Cyber gallery. It's oncyber.io/live dash in dash color. You can find it if you also just look up Living Color on the On Cyber website. But if you go there and you look around, we've had a pretty decent amount of sales this month. And on my Twitter, it's my pin tweet. So I retweet a new post every day where I recognize one of my artists who's in there. And, I get everybody to look at it like the most that I can. And to be quite honest, I'm truly blessed because the people who are in my gallery like blow my mind sometimes. Because as a matter of fact, last month in my Genesis Reloaded gallery, Terror Jr., which was my favorite band, who T. Felix Snow produced for, created an NFT and they put it in my gallery as an example. I just had one sell today by Volsupa. And Volsupa is also well known for his work that Anonymous took back in 2008 and sold, and not sold, but he sold that today. I think of like where my life is now and how things kind of have played out in the past 2 months. And while I recognize that I haven't had any financial success as of yet in the NFT space, I do believe that I'm working hard on my project, as you can see, like you're seeing me. And I'm working hard to help other people. And I just believe that, what I'm saying, if I just keep doing it this way, which was just me being myself and doing what I want to do, if this is what God has called me to do, then, people will like what I'm doing. They'll like my music, and then they'll want to support me,
This is super inspiring, and it's you blew our mind. I think it's just about these ethos of like to receive, right? You have to give more initially, and I think you epitomize everything great about this community because everyone is helping one another. You remind me immediately of Diverse, the beatmaker, who actually brought us together.
Yes.
That before this taping, we barely knew each other, but because of her, generosity to help others, and to see other people succeed. That brought us together, and we are going to send, more sales your way. I hope that, by putting this banner here, this is where your collection is available right now on OpenSea, right? Hopefully we'll drive more sales and you achieve your first NFT sale, and we definitely want to back you up and support you all the way. And please do come back more frequently and tell us your journey stories, what you're up to, and your future NFT drops. I'll be the first to snap up your music NFT drops in the near future, and this is really exciting for me to see what you have created in a short span of just a couple of months. And this is super early days, right? And everyone is just beginning. So I'm eager to find out how you progress, over the next few weeks and months. So keep us updated to come back more regularly. Any last words or message for our listeners who are replaying this podcast on your AirPods or smart speakers later on?
Yeah. If you want to purchase from me, follow me on Twitter, and then we can talk, and I'll open up my NFTs for you to buy. I'm more than happy for that. If you guys ever want to hear my music, I can play a little bit for you. I actually have a background with one of my songs on it that I do like the performances on in this space because I'm using VR Studio to perform and like promote my music. So just so everybody knows, I just feel like, this is a really, like you said, we are so early, right? Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I don't know. I feel like I'm a failure. And I feel like, what if this, I'm just like many other artists. I'm like, I deal with doubt and I'm like, am I doing the right thing? But I feel like I meet people and I talk to them and, I work my ass off to make sure that I do the right thing, which is not easy, right? To do the right thing. It's much easier, I feel, to do the wrong thing.
You're definitely on the right track, right direction. And I wish you all success. You mentioned about you can actually do a live performance. You want to do a live performance for us before we say goodbye?
Sure, I would love to.
Please take it over.
I got you. All right, I got you. Would you guys like to hear? Well, you know what? I've got this one. Give me a sec. This is called Holy Spirit, Holy Ghost, and I'm using my NFT Crybaby as the visual in the background. One moment. I just got to get into... There we go. Thank you.
Wow, we are unable to really hear the sound coming through, but I'm just looking at the way you're bobbing your head and moving with the track. I could actually feel your performance. And of course, we could see you moving along as well. I think this is going to be something that we are going to experiment and take it to the next level. We have a Metaverse event coming up end of this month, and I would love to invite you to come as your avatar and perform for us. So I'll send you more details, and I'm just not. Hopefully, your schedule is clears up by end of the month, and we can actually have you come on to our Metaverse concert event. So it's actually a town hall where we're announcing some cool, exciting projects with collaborators, and you will be the first that we want to collaborate with. So I hope that by then we could hear and experience your full-fledged, performance in the Metaverse. So I'm super looking forward to that. Do you think this is something you're up for it?
Oh my God, thank you. Yes, I would love that. I really appreciate that. Thank you for believing in my artwork.
It's a date, so let's do this. I'll send you more details after this. So please do take care. And we slightly overshot a little bit, but what you're doing is really interesting. And super interesting for our listeners and viewers as well. So I wish you the best. I'll see you in the Metaverse.
Thank you. You as well. Have a good day.
Goodbye. Cheers.
Amen.
And that's imtheSNT, also known as crypto's first pop star. And what a great way to open our first live podcasting action of the day. And we have a second guest coming up. Her name is Creatress, Sarai Mora. I hope I pronounced the name correctly, but I'll get her to come on shortly and maybe correct my pronunciation. So here's a little bit of an introduction for us, for her, that I'll be doing in a short while. But in the meantime, I'm going to just go for a short toilet break. I'll be back in 2 minutes. So please stay tuned for Creatress. She'll be coming on to tell us more about NFT art and more. So stay tuned. And my name is Wayne. This show is brought to you by Proudest Asia. And we're back live with more podcasting action. My name is Wayne. Coming right up, our interview with Creatress. So here's a little short introduction. Sarai Mora, also known as Creatress, is a Mexican-American multidisciplinary artist born in Mexico and now living and creating in California. Creating artworks in watercolor, oil paints, blown glass, and sculptures in virtual reality. The artworks are largely inspired by the complexities of identity, memories, the collective experience, and her long line of ancestors. And the reoccurring butterflies in her work symbolize transition, transmutation, and transformation of the soul through each experience that we have. Without further ado, let's welcome our dear friend, Creatress. How are you?
Hey, can you hear me okay? I'm good.
It's great to have you come on immediately after I'm the Saint. Don't you just love the VR stuff? And
Yes.
were you checking out his stuff after, discovering his work on this show?
Yeah, I was just talking about like we need to connect in VR because I'm like all about the stuff he was saying. I've been to a VR concert, like music festival. I'm like, we have so many things in common. I'm like, I wish I could talk to him the whole time.
I wish I could have brought you on earlier so that we can do a three-way a session in 2D, but maybe it's something that we'll definitely nail this down next time in our metaverse event, and hopefully all three of us and other collaborators could all be in the same room at the same time and feel each other's presence. Right, that would be a really awesome day. So, well, let's focus back on you because you have an incredible journey and a body of work as well. Tell us, maybe give us a 3-minute, update on what you're up to, and of course, tell us your journey stories into this metaverse world as well.
Okay. I'm like, where do I begin? So, what's happening right now, I guess, is like what I'm most excited about today. Like, I don't know if you saw the inspiration for like the crew came back today. They splashed down just a couple hours ago. And that's been on my mind these past few days. And I made an artwork that is basically a spaceship. So I created it, I minted it on the day that they took off, the launch. And yeah, and I've been talking about it today. I was watching them splash down, and so that's been on my mind a lot. And there was a whole NFT auction that they did for St. Jude. I don't know if you've been following along, but it's been super exciting.
Yeah, so many incredible projects like these, right? To either commemorate a historical moments or like even last week when we had this 20th anniversary of September 11, right? And I think I was reading up on some charity NFTs that were released to commemorate that, anniversary. I think it was by Sandbox in collaboration with Epic Prime, where they had 4 NFTs of the first responder, people who actually died in this tragedy, and they were able to actually bring to light again, and actually champion all these heroes and heroines, right, who actually sacrificed their lives during September 11 as well, and using NFT as a medium. I think this is really fantastic, and with what you just mentioned about the splashdown of the spaceship inspiring you to do great art, I think that's probably another great way for us to open up this show. And we're going to maybe screen share some of your work later on as well. Tell us, how did you actually get down this NFT rabbit hole and started your creative journey? I think this is something that our listeners are very eager to find out from you.
Yeah, well, the NFT journey in particular, that is all mainly Clubhouse. Like I've been in art already before, but I definitely learned about NFTs on Clubhouse. I got a Clubhouse invite. January 2nd was the day that I joined. So it's been it's been a while now. Feels like forever. And I just, I started learning about it. At first, I wasn't really sure. Took me, I think, a few months to decide I was going to do it and to finally go for it. But yeah, it largely was just learning on Clubhouse and being, kind of encouraged by the community.
And the community is incredible. People like Diverse, the beatmaker, she's the one who brought us together.
Yes,
and I think,
she's amazing.
the fact that someone, who is creating in California is now talking to a podcaster living in Singapore. This is just a great example of how Clubhouse is also a great place to not just, interact with one another, to get to know each other's work, but to inspire each other as well. And you definitely inspire me with your really creative artworks. Some of them in watercolor, oil paints, blown glass. So was it your family who inspired you to do this sort of art, or was it something that you picked up on yourself for yourself and actually started creating because you were inspired by some of the other art put out by artists around the world?
I would say it's my family, primarily. Of course, I take inspiration from every single experience I have, which, that relating back to, that's what my work is about, how every experience, even you and me talking right now, changes us in some way. But yeah, truly, even though I take inspiration from all over the world, it started at my family. My whole line of ancestors, the ones that have transitioned or the ones that are still here, all of them just completely inspire me. I mean, my dad makes all sorts of really cool stuff. He's more of a practical artist, I say. My grandma makes all kinds of really cool stuff. Actually, I have something I gotta show you, just because it's right here. This is this is something my grandma made. These are she takes these Barbies and she makes a whole outfit for them, and then she also paints their face like a Catrina, which is the Day of the Dead, in Mexican culture. So she's absolutely like my number one inspiration. But then like her dad taught her art as well. For example, butterfly mounting, he taught her that, and then she taught me. And so it's just, yeah, my family is incredible. My grandfather also makes wood carvings. It's wild. Everybody has some kind of talent, and it's incredible.
And of course, your talent isn't just limited to oil paint and blown glass art sculptures, right? You actually do a lot of multi-dimensional stuff as well. Tell us about the tools that are inspiring you to make even more 3D models and sculptures these days. I'm just looking at your fantastic website, which is creatress.org, right? You're using programs like Procreate, which my daughter is now learning. She just started, doodling and creating on Procreate on her iPad Pro. I bought her an iPad Pro and an Apple Pencil recently, and she's just starting to learn. And I think you are the best teacher to teach her. Maybe you can share some, tips or maybe hacks on how to actually create all these fantastic sculptures I'm looking at right now. And these are even more immersive when we put on our VR headsets, right? We can actually play with it, rotate it, scale it, or even manipulate it. Tell us how you create and your entire creative process.
Yeah, well, thank you, first of all. My website's still a work in progress. I made it, and I'm not a website developer, so I'm always working on it a little by little, trying to make it better. But this one in particular that we're looking at, it's like a picture of a sculpture that I made in Gravity Sketch. That's the app, and it's for the Oculus, right? So I put my Oculus on my head, turn it on, go to Gravity Sketch, and it takes me, like, what I see is a huge virtual studio, right? A virtual reality studio. And right there, I have all these tools that I can use to make these sculptures. So that's basically how I do it. And what you see is me taking a screenshot. Like, while I'm in that studio, I take a screenshot, and that's what you guys see. And in my NFTs, I kind of go further and I make a video. So what I do is I turn on the video screen recording on Oculus, and with my hands, I can move, either resize or scale the artwork, or I can make it move like around, which is what I do. I record a couple takes of me being like a puppeteer almost, right, for this 3D sculpture. And then when I'm done, I edit the video. And recently I started making little soundscapes for it. So the final product is a video now with sound of these sculptures moving around in VR. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. I think it will make even more sense when we start playing this video clip that I think you've sent me the link already. I'm going to just bring it up and share screen so that we can all see this amazing video, right? I think walk us through this Morpho Mariposa Extra Solar NFT. So I'm not sure whether we could see it yet. Give me one sec. Let me add it to the stream. One moment. Yeah. So this is your website. I'm going to remove that and stop that, and then share your music video or this art video instead. 1 second. Yeah. I think it's on the YouTube website. Perhaps tell us, why is it called Morpho Mariposa Extra Solar NFT? Why did you name it this way?
Okay. Morpho Mariposa comes from, Morpho is the model, the butterfly that I took inspiration from, like the real life butterfly. They're called Morpho, or that's their short name. Mariposa means butterfly in Spanish. I'm from Mexico. My first language is Spanish. I always try to play with language in my titles. And then extra solar or extra solar, it refers to, it comes from an outer exoplanet, like outside our solar system. So that's why it doesn't look just like the Morpho butterfly that you know.
Look at the details when we zoom in, right, and scale up that particular art piece. I'm going to just replay because it looks beautiful. Yeah. And well, this is also done in Gravity Sketch, right? Is that the name of the software that you use in Oculus? It's an Oculus app, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's pretty accessible. I think it's only about $15 to buy it for your Oculus. But yeah, and just so you guys know, like, this is just a really short clip, like a teaser. But the actual NFT is almost about a minute long video. So I get really close up. You get to look at it from the bottom and different angles, and it flies up above. So yeah, I definitely recommend people check them out. Most of them are between 30 seconds and like a minute long. So I never put the whole video anywhere except where it lives on OpenSea.
And everything gets blown up and it looks so gigantic, right? Like we were just zooming in on your 2D video and it already looked really impressive. It's like when you stare and zoom in to the wings of the butterfly, right? It seems that more cosmic patterns appear. It's more psychedelic, even when you do this in a more immersive experience using our VR headset. So tell us why, artists should actually move into the VR space to create. Does it actually allow you to actually go beyond the traditional way of creation? And do you find it more exhilarating and there are more things to learn at the same time, but it's also more rewarding to sculpt in VR?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't want to shit on anybody, but I do recommend it highly. I think, oh my goodness. I mean, I've made sculptures like you saw on my website. Like I made sculptures with found objects like mannequins, and I've done glass blowing, which is taking chips of glass and melting them and turning them into something else. And I've done ceramics. So you're sculpting from nothing. This sculpting in 3D and VR is incredibly different. It's just the possibilities are so much bigger, or not bigger, but just, I don't know. I just feel like you can create something as big as your house and all you have to do is scale it up once you've started, right? I could never do that with clay or with glass or with anything. I mean, yeah, sure, I could go and find a bunch of scrap material and make a physical sculpture really big, but not only do I need the materials, I need the space, I need the to be able to lift the things, and it's just so much more logistically difficult to create in real life than it is in VR. Like there's just so much possibility for your imagination to just go wild without restrictions for weight, size, material, price, and all things. Yeah, I love it.
Very well said. I think the possibilities are limitless, in VR, and you'll never find a canvas a paper as huge as the one that you could actually draw, right? In thin air, and basically it's so volumetric at the same time. It allows you to really create really gigantic art at the same time. So I really love what we're seeing so far. And I'm actually staring at your Instagram page as well. You have a really incredible Instagram page, and it will be a waste if we don't share it on our screens as well. So I'm just looking at some of your different tabs as well, right? You have events, NFTs, magic tools. It's also a very educational page, yeah? And tell us, maybe walk us through what are some of the highlights in your Instagram page?
Well, if you want to look at this, the middle one right now, that is a huge zoom close-up of the butterfly that you showed. So you know how it only got so far? This is like the super zoom, So yeah, I recommend checking those out. There's some in progress photos too. See, that one's, yeah, you can kind of see the eyes that you can't really see from the photo.
I love these, very inspiring art. And, what brings to mind immediately, there is a band which is a psychedelic industrial strength rock and roll band called Tool, right? They have a lot of sculptures and artwork that looks like these as well. And we've lots of eyes. I'm not sure whether you heard of this band called Tool. They are a band in LA.
Yeah. Of course, I've heard of Tool. That's an interesting thought. I like that.
But I love the way, you have different ways of portraying eyes. And in a way, this is like totally you, and this is your own, should I say, original composition that probably take that Tool, mystic art, right, into another realm. Because I'm just looking at this and I'm really impressed. And at the same time, if there's a way for people to own this is incredible. Because we know that Tool never released some of their artwork or album artwork as NFTs. They are not really huge on NFT as a medium. Are these available on OpenSea, or can people bid for it and actually own this art that you create?
Yeah. So the butterflies, I've been working on them for a few months now and just making one at a time. So the butterflies are all my my Genesis collection, essentially, right? So I've made about 7 so far. They're all on OpenSea. And here's a in progress video to give people like a little bit behind the scenes. But yeah, they're all on OpenSea. There's 11 editions of each one. There's going to be 11 total, 11 butterflies total, 11 editions of each one. And the pricing varies. I started really low for my first one, and I've been increasing it slowly because my skills have been increasing. Every single time I make one, I feel like each new one is even better than the last. So I'm very excited, and I think oh, I didn't mention 10% of the proceeds from this whole collection, even the secondary sales, right? So if someone buys it and then they resell it, I'm still putting 10% of that, whatever I get, to Border Kindness. And I've done a few fundraisers for them already. And they help people who are displaced or who are refugees or who just can't cross the border over in Mexico and the US, which is where I'm from. So that's one of the things that I wanted to just highlight. Like, if anyone hasn't heard of Border Kindness, please check them out. They're pretty incredible, and they're doing some really good work. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that before I forget.
I always love NFT projects that have either unlockable content, or they have royalty split, or royalties that actually are going towards charitable causes. So it's great that you're using your art to actually help others. And I'm really inspired by what you do. And from some of the videos as well that we are looking right now, they're all super incredible. And maybe tell us, in terms of like, do you get vertigo when you spend all your hours creating, in VR? Like we know that there are a few hacks, right? That for anyone who doesn't want to feel dizzy after a while, do you have your own advice for people who are experiencing or creating there for the first time? Like my hack is, make sure you continuously make yourself hydrated. Remember to drink water when you're in VR, because what you're experiencing basically is tricking your eyes that you're in a different realm, right? But you still need to hydrate yourself and make sure you don't keep talking and forgot to drink water. That happened to me once. I spent over like 3-4 hours just continuously talking in the metaverse, and I forgot to hydrate myself. So end of the entire live podcasting session, right, I had a sore throat. It's so important to have all these hacks, right? So what are some of your tips to prevent vertigo?
I think when I get vertigo, I just sit down and I do the stationary the stationary little guardian thing, right? So basically you can sit down, you just put it on, and you could just work right here. And your area is literally just what's around you, as opposed to being like actually standing up and walking around. I think it kind of centers you a little bit more. Besides that, I think just short sessions is good. Like I wear glasses
Me too.
to see far away. And when I put on the Oculus, I had to buy like special lenses to go on the Oculus, because my glasses would like just be smashed in there when I would try to put it on. And also, thank you, NFTs. From the first sale of my NFT, I actually bought those lenses for the Oculus so that I would be more comfortable. But even with them, like my head starts to hurt after like an hour wearing the Oculus. Like, it's uncomfortable. So that honestly makes me work slower. And also the little seasick thing, the motion sickness is also not good. But I just say take breaks, like work a little bit by little, because if you try to just be in there for hours, like it's not comfortable on your head, first of all. And then my eyes get tired too. It's like a weird thing to be staring at a screen like this far from your eye for a while, but it's I think it's fun. I think all in moderation though.
Yeah, very good advice. I think just like we are sitting in front of the screen right now using 2D, right? And it's important to take breaks every now and then instead of just staring at the camera all the time. It's really, very exhausting. And I love to walk around. Even when I'm like banging out emails on my laptop, I try to not go beyond a dozen emails, just reply a dozen emails, and then I'll be walking around the room again. I think that's some of the work from home tips that we can actually reapply in the virtual world as well. Always, make sure that we hydrate ourselves and make sure we take breaks in between. Yeah. So we want to talk about some of your other work, because you have this extra solar butterfly Genesis collection. I think we have already seen some of it. How about the other collaboration festival events and ongoing collaborations that you'll be dropping soon, including with 3 other artists using physical sculpture, fashion, and 3D combined? Tell us more about this new festival that's upcoming.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the collaboration festival was actually a collaboration itself with my friend Sarah Habab. She's incredible. I met her on Clubhouse. And we decided to do this festival to bring artists together and to kind of have like a fun collaborative experience for people, because a lot of people haven't ever done collaborations, we found out, and they were open to it. So we're like, all right, let's do this. So we brought about 30 people together and we did a random draw. So like we put everyone's names in the hat, virtual hat. And then we made teams of 3 people each. And we had about a month to create something with our team. And so my team collaboration, we decided to make it an NFT. So we've been working slowly on it. And we're going to release it soon. But what it is was the first collaborator, Jamie Randall, she made a oil cast sculpture. So it was actually really beautiful, and it was based on a Mexican actress. Her name's escaping me now, but she basically sculpted like a bust, right? So it's like, like starting like from here up with her head. And what we did is we 3D scanned it, this tiny sculpture, right? 3D scanned it and sent it to our second collaborator, Kurt Smith, who's a fashion designer. So he created a garment in his fashion software. And then I created a pattern to go on the garment, on this digital garment. So anyway, so that's basically what we're working on. I'm going to do another layer in Gravity Sketch. Like now we're going to take the whole thing. I'm going to add a little something to Gravity Sketch, and then we're going to release it soon. So stay tuned for that.
And I understand, in all these super groups, right? Because just like, inspired by musicians who actually form super bands together, and you have various artists from different bands coming together to become a super group, right? You remind me of a super group, and you collaborate with fashion artists. You were also involved in NFT Kids magazine. I think the editor was on our show just 2 weeks ago. So tell us about how that NFT Kids magazine contribution, how that project went down, and especially as well as your NFT Oasis curation project. Tell us about these 2 projects as well.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so with the NFT Kids mag, that's super recent, but I'm very, very excited. I actually connected with them thanks to Diverse Female Beatmaker. Shout out, she's amazing. And the Clubhouse community, like I remember seeing NFT Kids mag and I was like, oh, I should connect with them. And then Diverse was like, hey, you should connect with them. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I should. You're right. So yeah, I'm super excited. They have a lot of really exciting things going on. I can't even say but they have so much cool things going on. I'm just happy to be part of the team on any level, So do keep an eye out, because there's a lot happening there. That's very exciting. And oh my God, they have so many artists. There's so many artists that we can uplift through the magazine, and it is just the beginning for that one. I'm super excited. Yeah. And then you asked about the NFT Oasis. Yes. So I got a chance to curate. First I got to show my work there. Okay. So that was how it started. And after a couple times that I showed my work in their virtual art walks, they invited me to do guest curation. So I was like, of course, I'm always open. And yeah, it went great. I've done it a couple times now, and just, oh my God, it is so fun to meet your friends in VR and then to walk around and look at their work and then talk about it. It's just like the best, right? Yeah, see, there's one of the worlds they have. And oh my God, it's like an enchanted forest, I think is what it's called. And just look at that, like to see your art in a place like that, it's just, I don't know. I loved it. I really enjoyed the curation aspect, and just picking really beautiful work and beautiful artists to be part of these events was just awesome. And I'm really excited to do a couple more. There's a few communities that I'd like to highlight, especially like the Latino, Hispanic, Indigenous, that whole thing that I identify as all three of those things, so that, and then I want to highlight women as well. And then I'd love to highlight kids as well. So there's definitely more VR art shows coming, whether it's with NFT Oasis or any other, organizations that are holding space for artists. I'm all about it. I'm there. Just let me know.
Every week there's an exciting, VR gallery event launch, right? Like I was attending one of those in the Central Land just, I think a week ago. I think it's a Sotheby's event, and they were basically launching a new series of Bought It, a yacht club. So tons of people were there. Like I think they kind of like almost burst the server because too many people show up. And one of these great things, of course, you could feel the excitement when there's so many people. It's so much more easier to bring thousands of people, hundreds of people, in the same room, and to actually appreciate great art. Like some of the art that you create. I think one of the things that I definitely want to do and collaborate with you is to actually bring, and showcase your NFT art into some of our metaverse event upcoming. And we would love to also import some of your 3D models, right? Like the butterflies that we have seen so far into our VR gallery, and being able to actually walk our visitors, in Asia through some of your work, and even play with them, scale it up and make it smaller, rotate it, and zoom into these cosmic patterns on the wings of a butterfly. I think this is going to be really, really exciting. And I'm just looking at all these scenes in your Instagram, right? It's giving me goosebumps already talking about it. So I'm really excited. And but, because of a lack of time, I'm going to just squeeze in maybe a rapid fire round segment with you. Are you up for it?
Okay. Let's do it. Thank you, by the way. And I'm very excited. I'm totally down for showing in your virtual spaces and events. Please let me know.
It's a date, and I'm going to send you more details after this.
Perfect.
So let's do our rapid fire. It's actually pretty simple. The rules are that you just give me a short and pithy response as possible, maybe one sentence or two maximum. Yeah, are you ready? Let's go.
Ready.
What are your proudest life moments?
I think living through the birth of my son was a pretty proud moment. And let's see. I guess graduating from art school, that was a pretty proud moment. I was not sure I would make it through. So I think those two for now.
Fantastic moments. What do you want doing less of in 2021?
I want to do less worrying and less doubting.
What do you want doing more of in 2021?
More fun, more play, more selling my art, more just collaborations and creating with friends. I think that's what I want more of.
What is your advice for NFT artists?
Oh God, NFT artist advice: have fun, don't get impatient, and just keep making what you love. Don't worry about everybody else.
Any future ambitions or side projects in the pipeline?
Are you kidding me? All of them. I'm working on trying to have a alt space art show, like one that I create myself, not that's like, put on by someone else, and just like have people come and visit my little house in alt space and check out new art. I think that would be really fun. And I have so many collaborations lined up. I can't even I'm very excited about everything that's happening. Definitely lots of plans. I'm just getting started. And for anyone who's following, I have more plans than time. But I have so many ideas coming that just stick around. And if anyone wants to collaborate, always my DMs are open. So please reach out. I'm pretty reasonable and pretty open to being friends and doing fun stuff.
How can people reach you?
Creatress Art on Instagram, Creatress Art on Twitter, pretty much everywhere. And if you're on Clubhouse, definitely look me up there. Sara E. Mora on there is my name, but all of my links are on my link tree. So if you find my Twitter, my Instagram, my link tree is there. And from there, you can find everything. I have a little Discord I just started. I've got the collaboration festival exhibition that it's still up. You can see it. It's a virtual exhibition with all the artwork that was made. And I also just made a little gallery, an on-cyber gallery for all the artwork that I've collected, like all the NFTs I've collected and people have gifted me. I now have a little gallery for people to see those. So that's on my link tree too.
Fantastic. I'm going to insert these links, incredible links, as well as your link tree in our podcast show notes so that it's easily condensed in one page together with this podcast replay. So awesome. For anyone who is replaying this podcast could just hit those links, right, and go straight to all this exciting content that they put out. I'm really excited, and please come back soon and maybe premiere your ArtSpace virtual headquarters. I think it'll be really thrilling
so fun.
Journey and traverse through your own space that is totally you, curated by you, and see some of your collection, including those in your wallet. I think that's a segment that I want to do with you in the metaverse. During our metaverse event, we'll do a segment called What's in Your Wallet. So that'll be a good time for us to talk more about your collection. I think that will be another thrilling conversation. So with that, any last message or words for our listeners who are replaying this podcast episode?
Just be grateful for everything you have and everything that you do and everyone who's around you, and keep tuning into this show because it's pretty cool.
And you're pretty cool too. So thank you for brightening our Sunday morning right here in Singapore. Oh, actually it's 12:23. It's 12 noon already. So thanks a lot. And I know the time zone difference is really, huge, right? Over there probably is midnight or early hours. So thank you so much for staying up for this. I'm so sorry for the delay earlier on, but I'm just super glad that I get to meet you today and be able to see your beautiful art. I'm going to actually tell my daughter to go follow you on Twitter and see how you actually, and Gravity Sketch. You'll be the mentor for her. I'm really, really sure. So thank you once again. Super appreciate you. And
thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to the NFT Asia podcast. And thank you so much for joining us today. To learn more about our special guests, do check out our podcast show notes. So this is presented by Professor Asia. And this episode is hosted and produced by me, Wayne Chung, with my special guest today contributing to the successful taping of this episode. So thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. See ya. And that's a wrap for our Sunday and our weekend myriad of podcast shows. And I think it started on Friday when we had a session with the CEO of Persistence coming on the Engine Starter Saloon, and followed with Bucket List Bands when I spoke to a musician, Chloe Alexander. And yesterday night, we had a session on the Metaverse Asia podcast where we spoke to the editor of Immersive Wire. And today we had 2 NFT artists on our NFT Asia podcast. I'll be back next weekend with more podcast shows and spotlighting more incredible artists like Sarai Mora, also known as Creatress. Do check out her Twitter page as well as her Instagram. My name is Wayne. Have a great Sunday and keep crushing. Bye-bye.